folks. Welcome to the second installment of Teacher Timeouts. I'm so glad you're joining me. And today I'm in a different space. I'm in my home office space and you might hear noise in the background because my husband is doing the things he would normally be doing. And I'd been thinking I needed to find a time when I was home alone or tell him to be quiet, but so that the recording would be pure or professional feeling. But that kind of goes against what teacher timeouts are about. What teacher timeouts are about, what I hope they're about, is giving you the freedom to practice yoga whenever you can fit it in and wherever you can fit it in. I'm not in special yoga clothes when I do this. Life is going on around me and there might be some noise and sound. I'm in an office and not my little yoga studio, and that's okay. And I want you to know that you can practice in that way too. So that being said, it's a short flow today. We'll be working on our back, on our neck a little bit, and on our wrists and hands a bit, because I think those are all places that teachers especially find their stress will manifest. And it's a short practice today. You don't really need any equipment except for a nice stable chair. Again, one without wheels is best. That being said, if you have medical conditions, always a good idea to check with your doctor or medical professional before you start anything like this. Though this is really low impact and easy, everybody is different. And if you happen to be pregnant or think you might be pregnant, the breathing exercises, the pranayama that we'll be doing today, which are called Triad Breaths, do ask that you hold your breath for a couple of beats. And that's not something that's typically good for women or people who are pregnant or think they might be. So if that's you, then please just breathe normally through that part. Today's focus and intention surrounds the Yama of Satya. And that's spelled Satya. And remember, the yamas are ethical guidelines for how to deal with other people. Last week we explored Ahimsa, which is non-harm. We talked a lot about the non-harm to ourselves, but Ahimsa is also about non-harm to others. Today we're talking about Satya. And Satya is based in honesty, so dealing with others with honesty. And as teachers, that can be a really tough one for us as educators, because often we have to give feedback to students, to colleagues, to our bosses, and that feedback, if honest, may be difficult to hear. So we often come into conflict with, on the one hand, wanting to have the intention of Satya, being honest, and on the other hand, having that intention of Ahimsa, non-harm. I think of this with my students a lot. So when we come to that, that's where yoga can come in handy to sort of center ourselves and get some clarity in how we think. So there are a couple of questions you can ask yourself when you're faced with wanting to have the intention of Satya, but also have that intention of Ahimsa. First of all, ask yourself if it's true, what you want to say. And if it's true, then you can proceed. If it's not true, then don't say it. That can cut off gossip. That can cut off agreeing to things you don't want to agree to, which at this time of everyone being overloaded is really important. So once it's passed that test, is it true? Then you can move on to the next question, which is it beneficial? Is saying this going to help anybody in the room? And if it's not going to help, don't do it. And if it is possible that it could help a student get better at a skill or a colleague know where your boundaries are, then you can proceed, but you should ask yourself one more question. And that question is, will this feedback be welcome? And if the feedback isn't welcome, don't say it. It's no good to have it. Since studying yoga and getting my mind around this idea of Satya, I often ask my students, are you open to feedback? And sometimes they're not, and that's okay. Sometimes we're not ready to hear it. Just the doing of the thing is enough. Sometimes we are ready to hear it. So we would say yes to having that feedback. And that works with colleagues, spouses, friends, and everybody. So think today of the practice today as being devoted to calming down to your center and thinking of those 3 questions. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Can it be heard? And if so, then yes. You put everything in today's practice, short practice, into 3s to think of that. And hopefully these are centering and calming positions and poses that will be useful to you in considering Satya. Enjoy today's practice. Come to an easy seat, head over heart over hips, and bring your hands together for prayer. And today we're going to try the Ujjayi breath or the warrior breath. This is accomplished by keeping your mouth closed and your jaw loose and open. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, keeping your mouth closed, but forcing the breath out as though you're breathing your breath on a mirror in the bathroom. Let's try Triad Breaths from your easy seat. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Your shoulders are rolled back down your spinal column. Your chin is parallel to the floor. And think about releasing as many muscles in your jaw, your forehead, your eyes, your tongue, your throat as you can. Now we're going to do some controlled breathing triad breaths. Start by inhaling for a count of 3, exhaling for a count of 3, inhaling for a count of 3, and holding for a count of 3. Exhaling for a count of 3, inhaling for a count of 3, exhaling for a count of 3, and holding for a count of 3. Inhaling for a count of 3, exhaling for a count of 3, inhaling for a count of 3, and holding for a count of 3. Exhale, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3. And hold, 2, 3. Release that and return to normal breath, keeping your mouth closed. And come to easy seat again, hands on your knees, spine in neutral position. We're going to do some cat-cow. To do this, as you inhale, broaden your shoulders, let your chin go to the ceiling, your jaw fall open, and your back arch. As you exhale, chin goes to chest, hands press into your knees, and your spine rounds out the back. Broaden your shoulders as you inhale, lifting your chin to the ceiling, stretching the front of your neck, allowing your jaw to fall open and your back to arch. Exhale, shoulders push forward, hands push into your knees, chin to chest, and your back rounds. As you inhale, your shoulders broaden, chin to ceiling, neck stretches, jaw opens, back arches. And as you exhale, press your chin to your chest, let your spine round, and push on your hands to your knees to give a nice stretch. Inhale, back to neutral. Next, let's do side angle pose. Come back to prayer and we'll begin. As you inhale, your right elbow goes to your right knee, and your left arm raises up and over, reaching past your right ear, opening that left side body. Now your head can look up toward the ceiling, or if your neck prefers, feel free to look down at the ground. And just hold this for 3 breaths, noticing how the side body opens its gills as you inhale in this position. Do make sure your shoulders are invited to drop and don't pull up around your ears. Bringing your hand down, come back to neutral on an inhale. And as you exhale, go back into prayer. And now we'll try the other side of the body. Inhale, and your left elbow goes to your left knee, and your right arm stretches up and over, reaching over your ear, opening the right side body. Your head can look down at the ground, or if you prefer, you can look up toward the ceiling, and we'll hold this for 3 breaths. Keep that extended arm active, really reaching and stretching that side body. Just breathe here, and on your next inhale, let your arm come back down to your side and get into neutral. Meet me in prayer. Next, we will try Warrior 1. Get your hip points pointed forward. Get even on your hips, hands on knees. And shrug your shoulders down your spinal cord. On your next inhale, your hands rise up to the ceiling, keeping your shoulders loose. Your chin follows, so you're looking up at the ceiling. Your fingers intertwine in Anjali Mudra with just your pointer fingers out of the bind and pointing toward the ceiling. In this position, see how much you can let your shoulders go as you breathe 3 times. Let your jaw be loose. Let your gaze be easy. And let this be a nice stretch for you along the front body and side body in this powerful position. Inhale here and exhale as your arms float down to your side. Very good. Re-engage into your easy seat. And this time we're going to do what are called goddess twists. And for this, you'll want your feet to be a little wider than hips width apart, with your toes pointed out at 45-degree angles away from your center line. Put your knees over your toes and place your hands on your knees. Pull your glutes to the center line on an inhale and really activate your spine. On your next exhale, your left shoulder will pull back and your right shoulder will pull forward, coming into a twist as your eyes gaze over that shoulder. You'll now inhale and come back to center and repeat this on the other side. Right shoulder pulls back, left shoulder goes forward in a nice twist, looking over your shoulder. Inhale and come back to neutral. And we'll do that 2 more times since we're into 3s today. Inhale, your left shoulder goes back, your right shoulder comes forward, your eyes gaze over your shoulder, and you inhale to center, repeating on the other side. Exhale, your right shoulder back, left shoulder forward, feeling a nice stretch as you look over your shoulder and coming back to neutral on an inhale. Exhale, you're going to press your left shoulder back, your right shoulder forward, letting your gaze look over that left shoulder and coming up to center on the inhale. Exhaling to the other side, really feeling a nice twist in those shoulders that get so much abuse during the day. Inhaling back to center and meet me back in easy seat. And now we'll bring our hands back to prayer, pranavasana, and do some wrist rolls. First, rolling your wrists 3 times to the left, and then changing directions and rolling your wrists 3 times to the right. Repeat this sequence, switching directions once again, really rolling out those poor wrists that don't get much love but get a lot of abuse during the day. Switching directions with your wrists one more time to make sure those joints are nice and lubricated for you to complete your day. Coming back to easy seat, hands on your knees, and just note now, closing your eyes if that's comfortable, how we're back where we started. And notice if your body feels different from this short practice today, and if your mind has any differences as well. Remember the Triad Breath, breathing in for 3, out for 3, in for 3, holding for 3, and then repeating the pattern as is natural. And this Triad Breath can be a good anchor to come back to when you're faced with a situation where Satya is called for and you're also concerned about Ahimsa. Always coming back to your breath. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day as you go forward, bringing this practice with you. May your inner light continue to shine. Thank you so much.